Welcome to In Touch with Officer Dawn and Ray the DA. I'm your host, Jenna McNeil. Blackburn Correctional Facility, located on Spurr Road here in Lexington, is a minimum security prison. The facility has few restrictions on its grounds and allows special freedoms to inmates. Such privileges would be thought to be exclusively available to criminals with nonviolent histories or those who pose a low level of danger. Unfortunately, this is not always the case, and today Officer Dawn gives us a specific example of this by reporting news of a recent Blackburn escapee. Today we also learn about local criminal justice news as Ray fills us in on the November frequent flyer list and 2 trial convictions from this past week. Let's tune in now.
Welcome to In Touch Crime Beat. I'm Officer Don with Fayette Commonwealth's Attorney Ray Larson.
Out of jail, okay? Don't mess up.
And those are the people, those repeat offenders, the ones that go to prison. And
I say we're the #1 rated radio show in the whole country.
Welcome to In Touch Crime Beat. I'm Officer Don with Fayette Commonwealth's Attorney Ray Larson. And Ray, before we get things started, I wanted to ask you first, if someone escapes from Blackburn, does your office prosecute that, or is that a federal prosecution?
oh no, the feds aren't touching that.
So you do prosecute
Yes.
Blackburn escapees?
Well, they're escapes.
Then you can't comment on this, but I do want to play this. We had a guy that escaped, I guess, last week. His name was Christopher Melton, and he actually talked to Channel 27. And he had something to say about escaping from Blackburn that I thought was interesting. They asked him about, you know, how did you escape, and this is what he said.
Well, there wasn't really no break into it. I mean, he hopped the fence, took off running.
He says, okay, yeah, escaped out of Blackburn. There's really no break out to it. I just hopped the fence and took off running. And then he had this to say about the people who he thinks turned him in.
I know your address. I know where you live. I will get out eventually.
Okay, so there. This guy first of all says, hey, it's a prison with really no walls. You don't really have to escape. And to the people that turned him in, he knows your address, he says, and he knows where you are. Now, I think those people are in Garrett County, so you won't be involved in that case. But the prosecutor in Garrett County, I'm sure, will be looking at those threats as well.
He sure should.
Yeah.
Now this guy is sort of whoever this guy is kind of semi-stuck on stupid. I mean, what's he doing talking to the television station anyway? But it also gives us insight into what criminals really think about this joke of a criminal justice system we got working now, especially under this House Bill 463, which is nothing more than a catch and release experiment with the safety of our citizens. That's what it is. And Blackburn, I can remember several years ago, John Wigginton was the commissioner of corrections. And he wanted to change Blackburn into a medium security facility. And Fernita Wallace was on the council then. She went over and just raised hell. And John Wigginton just smiled and shrugged his shoulders and said okay to the legislative committee. I was there and I said, John, you really don't care, do you? He says, no, I don't. I said, because what you're going to do is just reclassify medium security prisoners to minimum security prisoners and put them out there because it only deals with minimum security prisoners, right? He looked at me and just kind of smiled and walked on off. That's what happens.
Well,
and what you have out there are people that are murderers who, some, not all of them, of course, but are getting close to serving their sentences. So they put them out there. And there are no, he says he jumped a fence. That's so he'd get over next to I-64.
Yeah, there are no fences around Blackburn. It's one of those honor system type things. Go to bed on time. We got a curfew, and you're right. People are surprised at the level of convict that is in Blackburn. I mean, there was one guy that shot a police officer in the stomach, and he wound up serving in Blackburn. Ultimately, we've had people who break into homes, and as you said, people who have been convicted of crimes related to killing people. You know, manslaughter, reckless homicide. Those type individuals wind up in Blackburn as well, and they basically live right amongst all the people there in the Masterson Station area, and it's an honor system whether or not they stay in jail. And you know, this guy decides he's going to hop the fence, and now he's going to get back at the people who turned him in.
That's the chilling part of this whole thing.
I mean, he's not afraid. Obviously, it's like he said. Listen. This is what he says here. He says,
I know your address. I know where you live. I will get out eventually.
He says, I will get out eventually. And
What's
he's
that
right.
what's that guy's
He's right.
name?
Christopher Melton. He's right. He will get out eventually. Right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll just see that he's escaped from Blackburn. Blackburn is in Fayette County. Fayette County is, I'm responsible for crimes that occur in Fayette County. So Christopher Melton has probably gotten himself involved in the criminal justice system. Where's he from? Where was his crime?
I don't know, and it did not say what he did. So actually, you know what it does say? The two were confirmed missing about 8 p.m. He was serving a 6-year sentence for theft and fleeing police.
From,
well, it says Blackburn's where he was.
No. See, he was in on fleeing and evading and what?
Theft, but now there's another. The fellow that was with him was serving a 10-year sentence for burglary, theft, arson, and possession of a handgun. Mm-hmm. So and by a convicted felon. So he doesn't need any walls. He's an honorable guy.
The other guy
was go to bed on time.
Was what we call a repeat offender. Mm-hmm. Speaking of repeat offenders, Officer Don, for November, we had 31 repeat offenders. Felony offenders, as we call them, the frequent felony flyers. 31 of those slugs, they had a total prior convictions, both felonies and misdemeanors, that amounted to 426. That's almost 14 each. Now, thanks to our legislature, that's where we are in this thing. And property crime is, so far this year, 92% of the crime, and there's reasons for it. We beat it to death every week, so I'm not going to talk about it this week, but I probably won't be able to stand it and talk about it next week. Mm-hmm. Now let me tell you, we had a couple of convictions this week. David Startzman and Lori Bowling tried a guy for flagrant non-support. That's a felony non-support case. And if you owe over $1,000 in back child support, then you're subject to being charged with a felony. But let me tell you a little bit about this guy. Let's see. He was determined to be the father through DNA paternity test in family court, ordered to pay $161 a month. This kid was born in 1996. He's made 3 payments in 11 years. And his arrearage right now is $13,000 since he got out of jail. His total arrearage that he owes the mother of this kid, almost $31,000. Well, guess what? We went to trial with this guy, David Startzman and Lori Bowling, and the jury convicted him of flagrant non-support. But then we got to look at a criminal record. He has an assault first degree under extreme emotional disturbance. He has a prior flagrant non-support, disorderly conduct, assault fourth, possession of marijuana, disorderly conduct, wanton endangerment. Jury gave him 8.5 years. Of course, you know what happens there. He'll serve 20% of 8.5 years is a year and a half. You want to know why the criminals think the criminal justice system is a joke? There you go.
So when he gets
Tune
out,
into the following stations to hear the full episode.